Hi there, and welcome to a new episode of RealLife DevTalks with me, Hannah, and David.
Hello.
And today we are talking about half marathons. We recently ran the Copenhagen half marathon in September, and we also ran it last year. So we thought we'd share a little bit of our perspectives and our experiences with doing this half marathon. Maybe let's start out how we got this idea from the beginning, because at least me, I've never been a real runner or seen myself as a runner. And if I remember it correctly, David, it was your idea from the beginning. And where did you get that inspiration from?
Yeah, well, I actually never ran before also myself. I mainly weightlifted. But then I followed, it's another software developer guy called John Thomas. And he is running a lot. He's running ultra marathons, full marathons, and also half marathons. And doing some Ironmans. And that really inspired me to start running and finishing some half marathons and potentially maybe a full marathon in the future. And that's where I got inspired to do it. And I got Hannah on the journey with me. Thankfully, she joined. And he also had a lot of good ideas and good facts to get you into doing a half marathon, which was, for example, that if you do something difficult, it's gonna spill out the rest of your life. So if you do a full marathon or a half marathon, which is very difficult, it's gonna your mindset is gonna change, and you're gonna believe that you can do other difficult stuff in the future, which will help you succeed in it. And it's also gonna change your mindset in being ready to tackle whatever, like both at work or at life, will throw out at you, because it is a mindset thing running for long.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, because I feel like I've had many moments during both the time, like training for the half marathon, and also during the actual race, where I just think, I actually don't have to do this. I'm actually putting myself through this, and it would be so much easier if I just didn't do this. I could just sit at home on the couch and eat chips and like do whatever I want, and I wouldn't have to feel stressed about not sticking to my schedule and things like that. And also I think it was a real challenge to get through the half marathon. It hurts like in your legs, and you feel, at least for me, I felt more tired than I've ever felt in my body. And I think that's also an interesting experience to like be in that situation and just feel like, okay, this is something new. Like I haven't experienced this before. And why am I here really when it's so hard? And one thing also that I think I experienced during both races was that during the actual race, I was like, I'm never doing this again. This is so hard. Like, why am I doing this? Lots of these like very negative thoughts. And then once you actually cross the finish line, it's like, wow, this is great. I did it. I'm definitely gonna do it again.
Yeah, and that's another thing I want to add also, which is that if you also want to be happy in life and more fulfilled, at least the majority is for people, is that you gotta do difficult stuff, because that's what makes you happy. Like if you just sit on the potato and be a big snail and do nothing, and on the couch, you're not gonna be happy. Like it's just because you wanna, as a person, you wanna see what you wanna go out there in the world and see what you can fulfill and succeed in, and that's what makes us happy. Of course, in a healthy way, without getting burnout and all this other stuff, which a half marathon won't. Just so you know, I'm pretty sure it won't, unless you're maybe, I don't know, have some heart problems or whatever, then you should watch out.
Yeah.
But it really, like, I had the same experience as you, Hannah, where when you ran that half marathon, it was like, why am I doing this? I'm never gonna do this again. And then when we finished, it's like, I want to do this again. Like, this was great. Like, this is like, and you just feel so happy and with it. And
Yeah, it's an achievement, and
exactly.
I think I have never really understood this part of like challenging yourself. I believe it's sort of similar. I mean, it's not on the level with people, you know, like climbing mountains or, you know, walking like really long paths for days and weeks, like trails. There's some in America, and there's also this pilgrim
at the hike
trail.
Yeah.
But definitely a cool experience, and I would like recommend it to anyone actually to consider running a half marathon.
Me too.
Yeah. Has your mindset changed in any other way since you tried this out?
I mean, this is now our second half marathon. And the first half marathon I was, which I'm sure you also were, was like unsure, was, well, how tough is this going to be, and what do we bring ourselves into, and all this stuff. But it's definitely like, now when we did our second, I'm up for doing more stuff, because it does make you happier that you do something difficult. Otherwise, it's like, what's the purpose of life if you don't do anything, pursue anything like, you know, that's difficult? It's just not. It's not fun if you don't do it.
Yeah.
So
I think for me, I thought a lot about before running the marathon, or even starting training for my first half marathon. I just thought like running 10 kilometers is almost impossible. Like, I will never be able to do this. And I was,
good point, yeah.
And I was very, very nervous about running so far and wondering, can I ever do it? Like, will my body be able to do it? Can I even, can I even train enough to be able to do it? And then once you have gone through the training for about, I think it was 3 months or something, that you gradually increase the distances that you run each week, and your body can do it. Like, it just gets used to it, and it becomes the new normal. And now for the second half marathon, I wasn't nervous at all. I knew I could do it.
We almost became a little like lazy, because we knew we'd done it, so we actually trained less than we did in the first time.
I think it would have been better if I was a little bit more scared this time, because
me too.
Because we made it through anyway. Another point that we have talked a little bit about is how we have very sedentary jobs, sitting a lot, not moving most of the time, while working at least. And there are lots of research and statistics around how dangerous it is to live a sedentary lifestyle. For example, there was a study that showed people who sit for more than 6 hours per day have a 20% higher risk of developing heart disease and a 35% higher risk of developing stroke. And I think this is something we should really take into account. You know, we're already spending a lot of time during the day sitting. So once we're not working, we should have a focus on moving.
Exactly. There's also a 40% higher risk for developing depression if you sit more than 6 hours a day at work, and we definitely do that.
Wow.
And after work also, you usually sit also at the desk, or so it's definitely a big thing. One thing I think was super important also was that you gotta just buy that ticket. Like, you gotta buy the half marathon ticket, even though you never ran before. Buy that ticket 1 year before or whatever, because then you gotta commit. You're not committing until you buy that ticket, because that will be an external push on you. If you don't do it, it's not gonna happen. And I can already say when we've done 2 half marathons, when we finish that half marathon and we haven't bought a ticket, we're not running. And it's not happening. So you gotta, like, I think this is probably maybe the most important thing if you're gonna do something, is just buy that ticket. So, so because you can't refund it. And you gotta lose those money, like that money, and then you just gonna push yourself more to do it.
Yeah, that's very true. I think it can apply to a lot of things. Also, traveling, like buy that flight ticket. You don't know what you're gonna do or where you're gonna stay, but just buy the flight ticket and you're stuck.
Everything. You just gotta commit. Otherwise, it's not happening.
Yeah.
With external commitment.
Yes. Very true. Maybe we should share some little tips and tricks on like gear and how we structured our training.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I think so. I would say there's 5 main things, or maybe 6, that you need in running a half marathon, and that's first a running plan. We can put that in the description which one we used, and then a running belt where you put your phone and your headphones. Keys, yeah. A lot of people don't think about this.
I think like some shorts and some sports tights, they have like pockets for this, but most of them don't.
No.
So might as well get a running belt.
And then, of course, the running shoes, and that's super important.
Yeah, I'm happy we put some time and effort into actually finding the right shoes.
Because that's the whole key. Like you're gonna run in those. So we went into a running like marathon running shop where they actually see how you run. And someone like me, when I land on my feet, my feet goes inward, and then I need some special shoes for that, for more stability, because otherwise I injure myself. And that was really good. Then I noticed that you didn't have one of those. You just had some neutral.
Yeah, I had a neutral stance, so I could pretty much use any shoes, is what I understood.
Yeah.
But they make you run on a treadmill, and then they record your feet moving. Actually, it's super valuable.
Super valuable, yeah. And then also getting the right size and everything, because it's gonna hurt on your feet if you don't have the right size. I had to refund some of my running shoes because it wasn't good, and then I got some new ones and it was much better.
Yeah, and I think she also in the shop she added like I have one size larger in my running shoes than my normal shoes, because she said you need extra space for the feet to move around when you're running. So there's a lot to it that you don't know perhaps in the beginning, so better to get help.
Exactly. So another thing you need is running tracker apps for sure, and that's the key with that one is both tracking how far you ran, but also what your pace is during the run, because that's the key also when you run long distance, is knowing the pace. Because if you have a fast pace in the start and you have a lower pace later, it's gonna take all your energy when you have a fast pace in the start. So if you don't know what a pace is, it's basically what is the calculation now? Some average with regarding kilometers.
Usually it's minutes per kilometer in the running apps. I think by default. So it's how long it takes you to run 1 kilometer. And from that, you can then calculate your end time if you stick to the same pace each kilometer.
And they all talk about that. I also talk with other runners like that did full marathons. They use these, they call it balloons. So it's basically people during the race where there's different balloons for each pace. And
pacers.
Yeah, pacers. And you can literally just run next to them, so you always know that you have the right pace. But to know your pace, you got to have an app to track your pace, so you know where you are.
It's also nice because the app tracks how far you run, so you can get like a summary with each kilometer of your pace and how far you ran so far.
Yeah. So you know how long there's left. And if you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, or you have some partner or friend, it's really good that you can also share your runs together and see, like, it's kind of like a little also external push to get you to run when you see the other person is running.
For sure, yeah. It helped a lot,
yeah,
I think, for me. The one we use used to be called Runkeeper, but I think it's called like Adidas something now. Not sure, but I'm pretty sure if you search Runkeeper, it will come up.
Yeah.
I also heard people use Strava, but I'm pretty sure you have to pay for that one.
I know a person, one of my friends has that, and you have to pay to hear the pace. So that's why I didn't like that.
Well, last thing then that you need.
Music. And a good playlist.
Yeah.
It's not something you necessarily need. I heard others, they can live without because they get energized by just looking around, like observing while they run, like in the city and in the nature and whatnot. But I think for me, it helps a lot when you're down on energy and like get that little push. And dream and visualize of whatever, like to push you.
Yeah.
If you, I don't know, in a dungeon killing zombies or whatever, or you're
going to war as a Viking or something.
Viking, all kind of stuff you can dream about. It actually helps like a lot.
Yeah. I think it's also important. We ran the half marathon in Copenhagen twice. And that's in September. So training here would be during the summer. So for me, a lot of times I'm sometimes wearing too much clothes, and that's very painful. Like if it's super hot outside and running in long sports tights, it just ruins the whole experience. So I think investing in some good running clothes as well can be valuable. Like maybe you don't need a lot, but you just need to think about if you're running outside that it fits the weather.
But another thing I want to add also is, but this is mainly I would say during the run, is these energized gel bars, and they actually it's not a bar, it's like it's a gel, and it's basically drinking a cup of coffee, but you don't get it's Danish called sidestik. It's like on this pain on the stomach, on the side of the stomach, and they really help a lot because you don't get those with the gel, and you can take those before the gel and during before the race and during the race, and it just gives you extra energy. That really makes it also easier to run far distance. So wanna keep that in mind if you are gonna do this and look into it.
Yeah,
buy one of those. They're not expensive.
Yeah, I think it really helps to have a person that is also running the marathon, in like friend or someone
or a group or something.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about signing up for a half marathon, maybe try to find a community around it or convincing a friend to join you. Makes it much easier to stick to the training plan, in my opinion. And maybe as a final ending note, what's next for you, David? Are you running the full marathon or?
You're joining me, right?
Not really. I think my running career stops at half marathons. That's what I'm pretty convinced about.
One thing I also think is really good with the half marathons is it's really, if you Google this, I can't remember the exact numbers, but there is studies showing that it actually makes a person a lot healthier running half marathons. And but when you do a full marathon, it's okay doing some full marathons, but it actually can be tough on your body. Where a half marathon is like in the safe limit, where you're not like pushing your body too much to make it dangerous or like destroying it, but it's really healthy running the half marathons. Of course, I mean every training is healthy, but it's also like with the full marathons, if you do a lot of them, it is kind of like tough on the body. So you got to watch out with those. But
yeah.
So I can do my point is I can do half marathon the rest of my lives. I can easily see me do that, like, because it is very healthy and it is fun to do.
Yeah, and it is fun. Like, there's a lot of people, at least in Copenhagen, coming out to look. The streets are filled with people cheering you on, and it's a nice feeling to run there.
What is your next plan, Hannah?
Well, I was considering actually taking up some swimming classes and learning to swim properly, because I can swim, but not very fast. And that could be fun. And then the next step maybe could be a triathlon.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Maybe I'll join you.
Maybe you will. Well, I think that's it for today's episode. Let us know what you think. We'll post some links to the running plan and the apps, all the other stuff we mentioned.
And if you're still here listening, thank you for being here so far. And don't forget to subscribe, and we'll make sure there's a new episode coming out every once a month.
Yes.
Maybe more in the future.
See you.
Bye.